Namaste, welcome to Buddha's teaching. Today's topic, we're going to talk about defilement of our minds, our own defilements, not anyone else but our own. For most of us, it is very easy to see that the mistake, to see the error in other people. Okay, and when some people do something not right, when people are doing bad things, when people are not doing uh, according to what you want, and all of that, you name it, you can see the mistake, and we can see the mistake, we can see the error, we can see the unwholesome things that other people do. Okay, and that is very easy for us to see because as a human nature, our default way of approaching the world is that we looking out. All right, we looking out to everything around us, so it is easier for us, it is easy for us to see other people, to see what they say, to hear what they say, to see what they do, and you can tell, okay, that's not a good thing to do and all that. So and it's easy for us to see what we are calling the defilement in other people's doing, the defilement in other people's saying, right? Okay. So the thing is that when it comes to ourselves, it is very difficult to see because of our nature of looking outward, not looking inward. Okay, so that's why we are going through this lesson. That's why the Buddha taught that we need to look within. If we want to be happy, if we want to be at peace, don't look too much outward, but instead looking inward. So that is sort of like the opposite of the default nature of who we are. Okay. So defilement, what is it? What is defilement? What are they? So the defilement just is a broad general terms because there are so many kinds, there are so many categories of defilements that we know, we do not know also, but it's countless of them, right? But the main culprit, the roots of all of our defilements, okay, that happens in our mind, in that is going on in the mental state, the activity that we have in our mind. They are basically based on three factors, of course, and they are what we call the three poison, right? The greed or desire, okay, the anger or the hatred, and of course the ignorance. So those are the three main base of all of our defilements. Okay, so make sure you keep that in mind. Those are the very those three important main ingredients in all of our defilements. So defilement in our minds is we can, as we all know, like for example, if we have a bucket of water, a clear water, okay, and if we throw poison into that water, and we know that that water now is has poison in it, and we would not drink it, or right, or we would not touch it because now it's contaminated. The water is poisonous. It's contaminated now. Okay, so what are those poison? They're based on the three poison that we just described. So, for example, our mind. Okay, now we're talking about our very own mind, not anyone else, but our own mind. As we go through our day-to-day activities, right? Every day from morning when we wake up until we go back to sleep. What goes on? Okay, when we have anger, so anger is one of the poison, right? So that's like the bucket of water. Now we drop an, a drop of anger poison into it. Now the mind is we call a defilement which is rooted in anger. Okay, so that is an angry mind right there. Okay, and we all have that. Okay, so jealousy. Okay, and we all go through that. Okay, from time to time. You uh, go to visit your friends or your relatives or whoever. Okay, uh, you see your friend have a new brand name purse, right? Okay, or he or she has a new smartphone, have a new motorcycle, have a new car. Your friend just purchased a big house. Okay, um, so on and so forth. So when that happen? What goes on inside your mind? What will arise inside you? You will feel envy, right? Most of the time for most of the people, and that is also we call jealous, right? So there, jealous is based on greed or on desire, right? Because we want to have something similar or better. Okay, so there you go again. That bucket of water, we drop a drop of desire or a drop of greed into that bucket. Now that bucket becomes contaminated, right? That mind that was clear before, it's now contaminated with jealousy. Okay, so and of course this thing change that the mind as we change the mind change from, let's say, sometimes desire. We now the mind that is defiled with desire can change with another drop of anger, or with another drop of hatred, because the mind change like this, right? Now when, let's say, when you have a jealousy inside. Now you're jealous because he has a new car, let's say, or he has a new girlfriend or beautiful girlfriend or whatnot. So you have this jealousy arise. So when it arises, it becomes, and inside you, you feel something burning, and also the mind change to having this hatred feeling inside. So now that is called the defilement of the mind, right? So the mind is now poisonous. Okay, it's not clear like before. The mind now becomes cloudy, become poisonous because of that mental activity that just happened. Okay, it all of a sudden, oh, okay, when you have that encounter with your friend, your relatives, your neighbors, your co-workers, or whoever, and now the mind has this defilement that arise. Okay, so that is defilement. Or let's say you walk, uh, you go to a party or something, and you happen to see somebody nice looking, right? And then there's desire rise within you. There's greed. You want to you know um, let's say get a hold on to have a date or something. So that is the desire mind, right? Now the mind is is contaminated with the desired poison. So now it's contaminated. Okay, so you see what happened. The mind is like that. Okay, the defilement, it arises very quickly within the mind, right? And the mind changes so fast, right? So it happens where? It happens inside, right? It doesn't happen out there. Okay, the mind that I'm describing is happening inside of all of us. Okay, that is the defilement that we need to look at. All right, not about anyone else, about your very own defilements. Okay, now another scenario, you have conversation. Okay, you exchange idea or whatnot, and one thing leads to another. You have an ideology, you have some kind of opinion regarding whether whatever society issue that comes up with politics, religions, local issue, or even opinions, in doing things. Okay, you have a certain understanding of whatever one topic, and the other side has a different opinion from you, as they say it, the left and the right or whatnot, right? That argue back and forth. So when that happens, okay, um, boom, you have a clash. So what happens when you have a clash? You have anger, right? You start arguing and stuff, because you try to say that your opinion or whatever um, you have is right. Okay, now we're not gonna get into who is right or who is wrong. uh, what we are getting into is this, that when there's argument, then what arises within? Anger, right? So now it's called that mind, that our mind at that particular moment is has a defilement that has its roots in anger, right? um, Now all the the reason that we have anger, the reason that we have hatred, the reason that we have desire, the reason we have greed, it is because it also has its base on ignorance. Okay, so ignorance is at the lower uh, base that these two poison derive from. If a person is not ignorant, then the person uh, would not be greedy, would not be hatred or full of anger, if the person is not ignorant. Okay, but it is due to ignorance the person has greed, the person has desire, the person has anger, the person has hatred, and all that, right? All of those the feelings, and the emotion that we all have, um, it's all based on that. And the very lowest level of the defilement roots is based on ignorance. Okay, so now as you can see that within our mind, that our defilement rise up very quickly and very often on a day-to-day basis. Okay, for most of the people who are not aware of what this defilement is, most people just um, live with their own defilement, and they would most of the time blame on other people when there's problem arise, right? When their problems arise, then people would fight. It's because everyone has their own defilements. Okay, but the problem is, for most of us, we can only see the defilements in others. We do not see the defilements within us. Okay, so the thing that we have to realize is that what is this the defilement that we're talking about? It's the disturbance of the mind. Okay, the mind is agitated, and whose mind we are talking about? It's our very own mind. We are not talking about other people's mind. We are talking about our very own mind, our very own emotion, our very own feeling. Okay, that's what we're talking about. Right? Just keep that in mind. We are talking about this defilement, the defilement that is in here, not in your partner, not with your parents, not with the children, not with the friends or co-workers or neighbors or whoever. We're not talking about their defilements. Every single one of them have their own defilements, of course, but we are not addressing their defilement. We are addressing this one, okay, our very own. Okay, that's what the Buddha taught. Change this one. Don't try to go change other people. Change this one. Look at this one. Okay, you have to remember that because the disturbance happen in here. Okay, if you are not disturbed, if your mind is calm, regardless of whatever that you encounter, you never have desire, you never have anger, you never have frustration. Okay, you're always at peace, right? You're always happy, content, and you're always joyful. You never have jealousy, and that's not what we're talking about, right? And that's exactly, but that is exactly where we want to go. Okay, because that's the mind that I just described is the mind of an undisturbed person. Okay, but our mind for us ordinary people, our mind is not like that. Our mind can be uh, infected very easily, can be disturbed very easily, and oftentimes the more we interact with the world, right? Let's say, but if you are on the smartphone a lot, okay, and you interact with different platform of social media, so now your experience and that you interact is going so fast, right? Boom, 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 boom. So now your feelings change, and you think that this is fun, okay, for most of us you think, oh, this is fun, exchange, making fun, this you do the emoji, right? Angry, uh, upset, or oh, like, dislike, and all of those. Okay, so now your mind is like this. It's like boom, 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 boom. It's changing, and the that is the work of a defiled mind. Okay, it changed from happy, angry, upset, and then okay, come back to normal a little bit, and then bored. Okay, so it cannot be happy unless it's doing something. Okay, and by doing those things, the mind think that keeps it busy, that keeps it happy, but in actuality it makes the mind work so hard, okay, just to keep up, to keep itself busy in order for it not to be depressed. Okay, believe it or not, because if the mind do not interact with all those activities, all those information, then the mind will be like so restless. Okay, say, oh, what do I do now? Okay, without this, I can't stay still. You see the mindset of a lot of people right now, as they become attached to these devices, so I'm not saying that that device is not helpful. But as with anything, everything comes with the good side and the not good side. And our mind is easily attracted to the not good side. Okay, the good side of the technology, yeah, there's some, but our mind is easily attracted to the unwholesome side of things. Just like in the one of the episode before, when I mentioned about cultivating our mind, when we grow a vegetable garden, right? We have a vegetable in a bed, right? The weeds can grow very easily, right? But our greens, our lettuce, our tomato, our cabbage, we have to take care of it. But the weeds, you don't have to take care of it; they grow by themselves. Okay, so our mind is the same thing. Okay, the mind can go off the wrong way so easily. But if you want to cultivate the mind to be in the right place, you have to work on it. Okay, the mind has to be cultivated. It doesn't come, as a nice, head of lettuce. You have to cultivate it. You have to nurture it. You have to take care of it. Otherwise, it won't be healthy. Okay, so that's what the mind is. So as we can see, our mind change like this, and the defilement can come up so easily, right? We because during our everyday activity, and we especially when we are quick to snap, all right, when we're quick to respond, because a lot of people think that they act fast because they think at the back of the mind that they're smart. Okay, so they just respond without thinking, things like that. Okay, so defilements happen all the time. Okay, this is something that we have to look in. That okay, what is my defilement? What are the defilements? All right, if you keep track of them on your daily basis, okay, let's say, um, whatever you do, whatever when, especially when you come into contact with other people, okay, watch what arise. Okay, even you don't know the person you walk around, you just by seeing people, what arise in here, what kind of defilement arise, does your mind say something? Okay, does does it give you some whatever idea or opinion that comes up? That is called a defilement. Okay, because most of the time jealousy arise, or anger arise, or hatred arise. Okay, um, or for example, or another issue is that the mind that has been uh, playing uh, as being a victim, the mind that's been in a stressful situation because of things that does not happen the way it wants. So the mind got upset, the mind got stressed and depressed, and all that, right? So the mind cling on to those memories, uh, to what happened in the past. Okay, so every time that memory kick in, right? When the memory of the past kicks in, what arise? What arise within? Is it wholesome thinking arise or unwholesome? What is the feeling that arise? Is it an unhappy feeling that arise because, oh, he did something, she said something? What kind of feeling arise? That is called defilement. Okay, the negative emotion that arise within. Okay, arise within. That is called the defilement of the mind. Okay, that is what we need to observe. That is what we need to follow every single step of the way that we go. Okay, we're not following anyone out there. We're following this one, our very own emotion, our very own feeling that is arising and passing away. Okay, um, as we go through our day, we know that we have so many emotion that keeps moving, right? Evolving from one period to the next based on what we encounter through our five senses, right? So in the morning, you hear something, you see something or whatnot, your 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 the defilement arise as being happy, believe it or not. Okay, even happy because the desire is met. Okay, when the desire is met, the mind is happy. That is also called a defilement of the mind. Okay, okay, and then because the mind is at a happy state due to greed, due to desire, and then all of a sudden something change, and then the mind, another defilement arise. It can be agitated, can be frustrated, you know, and it change just like that, so quick. For example, let's say you are doing something, normal, do you mind your own business, and then you have your husband, your wife, or your kids, they do something, they drop a dish, all right, somebody drop the phone, or they break something, and all of a sudden your mind, whoosh, come with the anger, just whoosh, come up, for example. Okay, that's called defilement right there. Okay, so the mind flip from being neutral or from being happy, just flip like that, become rage, right? The rage come out, anger, and all that, upset, frustration. These are all defilements. Okay, the defilements in the mind. You see how crazy the mind goes on a day-to-day basis. It's very, very crazy. The mind is like this, is all over the place. Now, how or in the world, where in the world are you going to find peace when the mind is like this? Okay, when the mind is like this, where are you going to find peace? That's why where the world is where we at today, it is because of that. Okay, this mind is always all over the place. It's like that. It's chaotic. It's chaotic. Total loss of control. All right, because this defilement runs our lives. Right. So this is what we need to look at, our very own defilement. So, but first, the most important is that we have to understand what is called defilements, right? What is it we call defilements? When something arises, what is it? We have to know what is that. When that emotion or that feeling arises, what is that feeling? Okay, how does that arise? It arises based on what? That very emotion, that very feeling that arises. Is it based on what? It's based on anger. Is it based on hatred, jealousy, based from greed, desire, or ignorance because we don't know what the heck it is? And what is it? It's based on. See, these are the things that we need to study, right? The different emotion, the different feeling that arise, what are the ingredients, what caused this to arise, because this is what causing trouble within our mind, not other people. This is what caused problem within us. Unless you realize this, you're not going to want to do anything about it. Okay? Unless you realize that this is what causing issue within me. And then you say, okay, let me do something about it. But if you do not see this as a malfunction of the mind, then people is not going to do anything about it, because people say that's just normal, right? That's just normal. In Buddha's teaching, we call that it's a sickness. It's not normal, right? A normal mind is calm, at peace, content, right? Joyful, loving, kindness, and has empathy. That is the normal mind. Okay, at peace. No, I stated like this. But when the mind is like this, and you say that's normal, then the thinking does not go with what the Buddha taught. Okay, the Buddha said, when the mind is like that, that is called agitation, right? Those are called defilements, and they are based on the poison in a default mind that we need to look at. Okay, so there has to be this realization that there is something that you need to look at. All right, a patient will not admit himself or herself into a hospital unless the person is feeling sick. Okay, when the person is sick, he said, oh, I don't feel good, I need to go see the doctor, I need to go to the hospital. Why? Because the person realized that he or she is sick, don't feel well. Now, the same thing, in order for a person to study about their own defilement, they have to first recognize or realize that the defilements of the mind is not right. It's called a sick mind. First and foremost, that's what the person have to admit, that this mind is not right, because I don't feel good when I'm angry, right? I don't feel good when I'm upset, when I'm stressed, when I'm depressed. I don't feel good. Unless the person realizes that, the person will not admit himself or herself into the hospital. In this case, as many of you have probably heard, that is the reason why some people compare the Buddha as a doctor. Okay, but he's a doctor of the mind. Okay, but he's a doctor, but we have to submit ourselves to the doctor and say, okay, let me look into this. What's going on with my defilement? Why my mind is like this all over the place? That realization has to take place within each and every one of us in order for us to take the next step. Okay, in order for us to take the next step, we have to realize that the defilements in our mind is a sickness that need to be taken care of. That is the very first step in all of us. Okay, so, and after that, of course, as we all know, the Buddha had already entered Parinirvana, or he had passed away, right? But he has left us the path, the lesson to follow, the path to follow, and we look into the lesson, what the Buddha had to say. What is it that we need to do to cure this illness to cure this defilement that we have. This is what the lesson is all about. The lesson teaches us on how to cure the defilement of our very own mind, right? Not about Susie's mind or John's mind or Stephen's mind or whoever. The defilement within here, okay? We're not curing, we're not anyone else defilement. We need to take care of this one first, your very own defilement, okay? That's why they always say the Buddha can only point the way, okay? That's the way. But we are the one who take the walk, do the study, take the walk through that path. If we truly realize that the defilements here needs to be taken care of, okay? The defilement in the mind needs to be taken care of. That is what we need to do. Then, with that realization, then yes, we can take the next step in the study into curing the defilements of our mind. Okay? So, with that, at least if one realizes that, oh, there are defilements in my mind, and yes, there are defilements in others, all around me. We are all the same. So now, at least we can step back and say, all right, let me take care of this one first. And then maybe later on, okay, other people, but take care of this one first. Now, when one at least understand that there are defilements within each and every single one human being, there is an understanding that, wow, we are living in such an ignorant world, okay, that we don't know anything, and we're fighting each other. It's like blind people fighting with blind people, okay, pretending that we know what we're doing. So with that, there's compassion that can arise within us. I say, oh, okay, now I'm not just the only one that is blind. Everyone around me is also blind. So we all going through this together, the defilements in every single one of us. So there's understanding, okay? There's compassion toward others arise at that moment. There's empathy that arises at that moment. There's understanding arise in that moment. At least that would be the first benefit. Okay? Once we realize that we have defilements and we need to take care of this. And it has to take care, and we have to take care of it within ourselves first. First and foremost is this one, not other people. Okay? So that's the message for today. Looking at the defilement within our very own defilements. All right? Until next time, I like to pay respect to the Triple Gems. I like to pay respect to the Buddha. I like to pay respect to the Dharma. And I like to pay respect to the Sangha. Namaste.